I'd like to talk to you today about cars and RVs. Cars are considerably lighter and smaller and faster than RVs. It's not good when cars and RVs meet each other. RV's gonna win even if the RV's in the wrong. The RV weighs a heck of a lot more than the car. My RV is 33 feet long and 17,000 pounds. Who is gonna win that matchup? I might be in the wrong for doing something stupid, but at the end, who's gonna win that matchup? Okay, so let's talk about how cars and RVs interact on a freeway. And the reason why I'm talking to you about this is because we just got done doing our vacation, and many a time I was either cut off or going up an incline, and we had the car slowing down the RV or tailgating. I want to talk to everybody about this because it was really annoying. And I only have so much train horn compressor on the RV. Okay, so we have different lanes on the freeway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an on-ramp. Lane 1 is the fast lane, 65 through 150 in California. This number 2 lane is 65 to 90. The number 3 lane is 65 to 75. The number 4 lane is 55 miles per hour to 70. The number 5 lane is from 55 miles an hour to 70 miles an hour. And then you have the on-ramp, where you have to try and merge into this chaos we call Southern California freeways, like the 405. So we have Mr. RV, and he's driving in the number 4 lane. That's the lane that I like to drive when I'm driving my RV, and I'll explain why. We have Mr. Car. We're going to call Mr. Car, for today's purposes, Dumas. Right? We have Mr. Dumas here. Mr. Dumas likes to hot rod around, so he usually drives in the number 1 lane. But today, Mr. Dumas is being exceptionally ignorant, and he wants to drive right here. Does anybody see a problem with driving right here? Especially if I have wind coming and hitting me right here. Or wind coming and hitting me right here, right? The RV is a giant sail. It's got a lot of sidewall on it that is flat, and when the wind hits it, the RV tends to sometimes drift out, and it's not due to the driver, it's due to the wind, and it's hard sometimes to compensate or see where the wind is coming from, and you might get hit with an unexpected gust of wind. Same thing with trucks. So Mr. Dumas over here should not drive next to Mr. RV in the blind spot. That's just silly. Don't do that, okay? We're doing 65 down the Southern California freeway. I get a wind hit, and guess what? Boom. Again, Mr. Dumas might be right, but who's going to win that? The RV or the Dumas sitting in this car? Right? Common sense. What we want to do as a car is go ahead of the RV or go behind the RV. There's a thing on the cockpit of a driver's car, the long pedal, that's called the gas. The one adjacent to that, it's a square little pedal, that's called the brake. If we want the car to go faster, we push down on the gas and Dumas accelerates. If we want Mr. Dumas to slow down, we step on the square pedal next to the big pedal and Dumas slows down. Okay? Next thing, when the RV is cruising at, let's say, road speed of 65 miles an hour, I have a clip of this with my wife driving the RV. Mr. Dumas comes in from the number 2 lane because it's all full of traffic right here, and he thinks he can cut over and get cut right in front of the RV. Does anybody see a problem with that? Again, in California, I'm at fault for rear-ending him. Who's going to win that battle? Mr. Dumas or Mr. RV that weighs 17,000 pounds? Don't do that, right? Usually when we're driving an RV, or I typically do when I drive an RV, I will leave a very big gap right here. And the reason why is because Mr. Dumas decides that he wants to go from the number 1 lane to the number 4 lane and cut me off for some unknown reason because he sees a big gap right here. Well, that makes my RV hit the brakes. RVs don't stop on a dime like the light car does. The RV weighs a lot of tonnage, 17,000 pounds, and it can't stop in time. So guess what? Boom. Right. Uh-oh. Don't do that. Okay? If there's a big gap, there's a reason, because it takes a while for the RV to slow down. All right? Just common sense. Here's another neat one. If I have Mr. Dumas sitting behind the car, and I can't see you in this rear view mirror, I can't see your face back here, that means you're too close. And if I have another Dumas come through and cut me off and I hit my brakes, guess what? Bam, and I got a big hitch on the back of my RV. Guess what happens? RV wins, Dumas doesn't win. Again, RV, 17,000 pounds. Okay, it's a Class C, it's 33 feet long, right? Here's another one. I'm cruising in the slow lane over here, right? Mr. Dumas is coming on the on-ramp. We're going at the same speed. The on-ramp ends. The driver in the number 5 lane does a constant speed. Mr. Dumas needs to either accelerate or brake and get behind the RV. Not keep pace with the RV. Because guess what? You run out of room, Dumas ain't going to win against the RV. Okay? Come on, people. Here's one of my favorites. This is my all-time favorite. Let's erase this real quick. My handy-dandy drawings, right? RVs. We're going to draw this on the side here, and we're going to make it a grade. Okay? And let's call it a 7% grade. Okay? Again, you have, on the hill, you have different lanes. Right? Number 1 lane, number 2 lane, number 3 lane, number 4 lane, right? If the RV is in the number 3 lane or the number 4 lane, trying to make it up this grade, okay? And you see his flashers come on. My flashers come on when I drop below 50 miles per hour. I will throw my flashers on. Sometimes at 55 miles per hour. If I know my speed's gonna drop, I will put on my hazard lights to let anybody coming behind me, like Mr. Dumas, coming up behind me, doesn't run into the back of me as I'm trying to make that 7% grade, okay? So I'm in the truck lanes, usually the number 4 lane is what they're trying to pull up that grade if they're pulling a big load, or you'll see them pull up on the number 3 lane if they have some power to try and make it up that grade, okay? Mr. Dumas here in the number 2 lane decides, well, there's some traffic over here. I'm gonna come over here, and instead of going with the flow of traffic, I'm gonna slow down. I'm gonna come at a complete slowdown and not keep up with the current speed up the hill. That makes the RV work twice as hard, and it's hard to pull up that grade for the RV. You're doing this guy a huge disservice by being a complete Dumas. All right? Don't be that person. That is annoying. If you do that to trucks, you're gonna get the truck horn. If you do that to me in my RV, you're going to get the horn. I'm telling you right now, don't do that. That's bad. All right? It's hard enough to get an RV up a 7% grade When you got full tanks, water and everything else on board, it's a house, right? It's trying to make up a 7% grade. That's a tough grade to go up. Like the Grapevine, which was fun. I went up the Grapevine at a whopping speed of 30 miles per hour in the number 4 lane. That's how I went up. I had semis pulling next to me on the number 3 lane, pulling up the Grapevine. Don't get in front of me as I'm trying to keep 30 miles per hour up the grade so my RV doesn't overheat. Don't get in front of me and slow down. That doesn't help. And that happens a lot. Just be respectful out there as a car. And some people don't know about the RVs, and I get that. I understand that people who drive this and have never driven a large vehicle, they might not understand. I get it. I'm hoping this will help, right? We don't want to drive in the blind spots. We don't want to tailgate. We don't want to drive in front and slow down. Okay? We don't want to cut him off, because then he's got to slam on his brakes. They don't stop very fast, just like semi-trucks. They don't stop real fast. And if you're going to do that, bang. Who's going to win? RV versus Dumas, right? This is going to win. In court, you might win because it's a rear end. But if you cut him off and he has no choice, trust me, it's not going to look pretty. All right? So just pay attention when you're driving your car around big trucks or RVs. All right? The other thing, too, turn signals. They don't run out of juice. You don't have to fill up turn signals, everybody. You do a turn signal, you change the lane. You turn the turn signal off. You want to make another lane change, try turning the turn signal on. You can make a lane change. You let everybody and their brother know, especially Mr. RV, who's trying to keep track of 1,000 different things on the road because we have Mr. Dumas cutting them off all the time. It helps. All right? I know I'm ranting. It was very annoying driving from here to Yosemite to San Francisco and then down the coast, trying to keep Mr. RV safe and watching out for Mr. Dumas. All right?